In this section, we'll be covering the moving averages. What is a moving average? A moving average is a technical indicator that calculates the price value of the security for specific periods of time and shows the calculated average on the chart by printing a line that follows the price changes of that security, but as it is forming by taking the value of the past period to current period, where it's calculating the price of the previous candles to the current candles, depending on the period value, that makes it a lagging indicator. Lagging indicators are basically the indicators that are not predicting the future of the price but following what's happening on the chart and doing its calculation and providing a visual representation of the calculation of the past to recent price movement on the chart. So moving averages are a very widely used indicator on the chart. What moving average does is it tracks the price of the security and calculates its average, and after calculating it, it shows that using a line on the chart, which appears much more smoother than the price we see on the chart using just the candlesticks alone. Now, moving averages are based on the chart's time frame and periods, and you can select the calculation you want for your moving averages on the chart by setting the period of the moving average. Period is basically the number of candles you want your moving average to calculate and show on the chart. So let's say you're using a 1 hour time frame and you apply the moving average to it. You have to first select the period of the moving average, and then you can see the smooth line which shows the price's average. So let's say you set the moving average to calculate the price of 10 candlesticks, which means it's going to be calculating the average price of the current last 10 candlesticks and print that on the chart. So when you set the moving averages period, what it does is it calculates the price on the chart based on the price fluctuation that has happened for the last 10 candlesticks. And as the new candlesticks are forming, it calculates that, but any calculation before the last 10 candlesticks are not used. Because as we have set the period to 10, it's only calculating based on the last 10 candlesticks and nothing before that. But 10 period is just an example. You can choose to set it at any number and the moving average will calculate the average of the price based on that number and print the line on the chart. So this is what the moving average is. And there are multiple different types of moving averages, but we'll be solely focusing on the EMA, which is the exponential moving average. We don't have to go into the details about the calculation and the math part because all we need is just to add the EMA or a few EMAs on the chart, set their periods, and analyze the chart while taking into consideration where the EMA is. So let's talk about why is the moving average so important in this strategy. So as we know that the market goes into two different phases, the trendy phase and the consolidation phase. The moving averages helps us determine the trend of the security and do that in a much more accurate manner than if we were just looking at the candlesticks alone. But you can't just add any period EMA on the chart and expect it to give you the correct trend of the price, because it shows the market trend depending on the moving averages period. So we have to select the period value while taking into consideration what do we see when there is a big trend in the market. Do we just see 10, 20 or 30 candles, or do we see hundreds of candles forming in that trend direction? So this gives us the answer. We need to set a bigger period value for the EMAs. And as our strategy is based on swing trading, it helps in spotting bigger trend in bigger time frames. So to add the moving averages onto your chart, you have to go to the indicator search bar and type exponential moving average, and there you can select the EMA. Now moving on to the main section where we'll be combining the chart patterns, the candlestick patterns, the moving averages, and analyzing the charts, and we'll be looking at some trade setups.